everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today I am so excited. I have a man here by the name of Dave Armstrong. He's a author, life coach, motivational speaker. He's a retired Air Force veteran, which is near and dear to me. We'll bring that up later. He has an inspirational story that I can't wait to get into. But first and foremost, let me be polite because my parents raised me with some manners. Let me say welcome to the show, Dave.
Thank you, Lana. I appreciate you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you to the listeners that are listening. I appreciate it. I really do.
Now, second thing, because my dad will kill me, I want to say thank you for your service. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. 24 years in the Air Force. It was great.
Awesome. Now, your story, like I mentioned in the opening, is very inspirational, overcoming adversity. You are now, right now at this moment, speaking to me from where? I like to always tell people where.
Greece, the country of Greece. I decided to come and retire with my beautiful Greek wife here in Greece.
Awesome. Now, we're going to get into your story now. Now, where you started was a young man in the inner cities of Los Angeles. So how does a young boy from Los Angeles get all the way to Greece as a man?
With a lot of work. How about that? We'll make it real short with a ton of work. I grew up in a really bad situation. My stepfather was abusive to myself as well as my mom, physically and verbally and mentally. Mentally comes with the two latter. And boy, it was rough. It was rough getting beat on for no reason, just because somebody's pissed off at you and decides that they want to do that. I ended up in a boys camp for a couple of years in Pomona. Went and while I was at the boys camp, my mom passed away. And of course, I didn't want to go to my stepdad after she passed away. So I thought my family was going to find me, take care of me or something. And that didn't happen. Nobody wanted anything to do with me. So, or they didn't find any of my family, one of the two. But at the time it was like, well, here I was abandoned, by my mom, by my family, by the world. And it was horrible. I mean, for a 12, 13-year-old kid to have nobody, to have absolutely nothing to live for, to strive for, no goals, no aspirations, no mentoring, no nothing, no father figure to teach him how to be a dad, how to be a man, how to just be a person. So, I went through life early on like that. And if it wasn't for my martial arts instructor, Sensei Otto Johnson, who was a psychologist at one of the boys' homes that I ended up at, he was a tremendous person, a huge guy, 6'10", 300 and something pounds, big black dude that, could kick anybody's butt, and he was such an inspiration to me. Everything he did was like, wow, this guy is not just a giant, but a gentle giant. Not just a gentle giant, but he's so good with everyone and everything. And so he became my role model. But it wasn't until I was a little older, and it certainly, he wasn't my dad. He was a staff member, and my instructor. But he ended up being a surrogate father. But between my mom dying, me being in a boys' camp, and meeting Sensei Otto and trying to change my life, I had done a lot. I robbed somebody at gunpoint when I was 9 years old. No, I'm sorry, 11 years old. I was 11. Robbed her at gunpoint. And so it's hard when you have nothing in front of you. You don't, your destiny. And I always tell this, when I'm speaking, I defied my destiny, and so can you. Everyone that's listening now, if you see your life in a specific way and the trajectory of your life is this in front of you, right? It's the day in, day out, the same thing, the same relationship you have that you're not happy in, the same environment that you're in and that you're not happy with. That's your destiny, right? But you can defy that. You can change that. And it takes work. So how did I get to Greece from there? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work on yourself. It takes a lot of people to mentor you, to help you. You're a coach, helping people overcome their own beliefs, their own blockages, or their own blind spots. I have people that they don't even realize that, wow, this is the trajectory of my life. I'm going here, and wow. And then you go, well, you can change that. Well, no, it's hard. I got a good job, so I don't want to leave my job. Well, but you're unhappy. Yeah, but 120,000 a year is pretty good. Yeah, it is, but you're unhappy.
But you're miserable. Yes.
So you're saying that your happiness is worth 120 grand a year. If that's the answer, if that's the truth, I'm no one to judge you.
Yes.
Right? We all have trade-offs in life. We trade something for something else. When we go to the store and buy Versace, we're spending $500 on a shirt. That's a trade, right? So if you're willing to give your happiness for 120,000, 500,000, 2 million, if that's worth your happiness, okay. But you got to at least think about it. That's the thing. People don't think about it.
Yes. And the time, I like to tell people the time that it takes to make that income to buy the Versace, that's also something that you have to consider, like what you're giving up, not only the finances, but portions of your life to acquire what is not really substantially making you happy, making you satisfied with your life, so. Well,
I won't go down. I shouldn't have mentioned Versace. I won't go down that road. I'm kind of a
you're in Greece, and I know a little bit about the energy and atmosphere of Greece, so.
I like clothes. I like
par
stuff.
par for the course. Yeah. So who said go into the service, young man?
Oh, so that's a great story. Look, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I always tell people, you got to get yourself out of the environment if it's a bad environment, right? If you're not thriving where you are, what you're surrounded with, if that's not facilitating what you really want in life, you got to get out of there. And so I was in a hood. I was a Crip. I was fighting constantly. I dealt drugs. And I tell people I didn't care about anybody. Why would I care? Look, here's the deal. When you're dealing with a kid that doesn't have anything, watch out. Watch out. I had a mentoring program for at-risk youth in Colorado Springs. And I I had kids in the program that were in juvenile detention, foster homes, and group homes. And I was blessed with the ability to really resonate with them, to help them, and to also help them change the trajectory of their life, to define their destiny, right? And some of them made it, and they're doing great. I still talk to them, and some of them didn't. This is just statistics. But my point is, when you're dealing with someone that has nothing but void, right? Has nothing. Why do you think they should care about you in your life?
Gotcha. Understood.
We see the statistics, all these kids gangbanging and killing people and stuff, and we're like, oh my goodness, they're killing each other. Well, yeah, because you have to understand. We, at this point, value human life, right? I value you as a person, but I didn't at one point. You were nothing to me. Because I didn't value myself. I had zero value for myself. How am I going to value you if I have zero value for myself?
I have listening to you talk, and we come from similar backgrounds, and the show is about you, so I'm not really going to talk about me. I want, but right out of college, I did a lot of work with group homes and kids on probation. And you realize, like you said, some kids come from these very adverse situations, um, and they get it, and they blossom, and they grow and have their best lives. And some kids just sink deeper into this pit of darkness. What, in your interpretation, because it's always puzzled me, what is the aha? How come some kids get it and some kids don't?
Because I'll tell you exactly why. Look, I've had 25 years of experience dealing with at-risk youth,
Mm-hmm.
and not counting myself being an at-risk youth.
Mm-hmm.
I would match my mentors up with kids that I thought they would resonate best with,
Mm-hmm.
that had similar experiences or ideologies or
Okay.
mannerisms, but something there. So to
Okay.
answer your question, someone hasn't gotten to them. The
Okay.
right man or the right woman hasn't had a conversation with them, hasn't mentored them.
Okay.
I'm launching a program right now. It's launching next week for parents and anyone that's working with at-risk youth or teenagers in general.
Mm-hmm.
And the first module, it's a 12-month program. The first month is on behavior, right? And I talk about how you can either accept behavior, change behavior, or modify behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are your three choices. But I also talk about the fact that teenagers seek autonomy. They want to be their own person.
Okay.
And the problem is when we see a kid, I'll say a kid, but a teenager, we think that they're a child, a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old that we need to hold their hand when they walk across the street. We don't see a grown man or a grown woman,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they're closer to adulthood than they are to being babies, to
Mm-hmm.
being toddlers. But we don't see them, right? Our minds
Mm-hmm.
don't see them as that. We see them as, well, we need to help. We need to help them across the street.
Oh, okay.
They
They're
don't
still
want
baby.
your hand.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want your hand. They know how to walk, but we try to connect with them in the wrong ways. We try to connect with them like they're children, like we're helping them across the street instead of helping them towards the right destiny, towards defying their destiny, towards big goals in their life, right?
Okay.
But yeah, so statistically, more kids will not end up okay than end up all right.
Mm-hmm.
The end. And I attribute that to just not having enough people like you and I
Mm-hmm.
get involved,
Okay.
really figure out, like, there's not a lot of programs out there that teach mentors or social workers, foster parents, how to connect,
Mm-hmm.
how to make a real difference.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it took a lot for me to get to that point and to figure that out. A lot of kids, and I made mistakes. And so I'm pouring all of my mistakes and my non-mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
into this program, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Well, I'm thankful that you're here because, there's a lot of at-risk youth out there, and it's always this continuous cycle. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to do, and there's so many factors. You have socioeconomics. You just have parents dealing with issues. You have educational resource. There's a whole underlying system that makes an at-risk youth have problems elevating themselves from their situation. But there's another type of youth that's not at risk, and they're just as problematic. You have these kids today of this generation. I like to call them the entitled crew, and they become these big problems because I can't get the $1,200 iPhone, or I don't have the $200 pair of jeans. My parents, and they act out in the same manner that an at-risk youth would. When it comes to parenting, how do you, it almost seems like it's better to let your kid have some adversity and struggle and understand the meaning of, to create a sense of
Mm.
humbleness and value and inner core and morality or whatever. Any thoughts or because I think it's an inclination as a parent to want to groom your child.
It is. Oh yeah. Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah, yeah. It is. It is.
mhm,
I'll tell you. So statistically, we see suicide rates about 10% less now than they were in the 90s.
mhm.
So we know that something is working.
Okay.
Okay. However, we also see statistically that younger children are committing suicide.
Mm.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year olds. So then you go, well, what's in between that, right? So we got one extreme positive, but kind of a trending negative. What do we do? What do we do? Look, parents, I always tell people you don't know what you don't know. The end. The
Mhm.
end. But you have this blind spot and you can't see it until you expose yourself more, until you grow more, until you seek knowledge, until you morph into the type of person that is ever seeking something new every day, right? Every day I want to learn something new. I'm 46-ish, 47 in a couple of months here. And I know you're gonna say that you look 25, Dave. I understand.
Yes,
I
yes, that's what
understand.
I was going to say.
I
Yes. I mean,
appreciate that.
22,
Thank you, Lana.
23.
Yes. Oh, I never got 22, 23, but thank you. Yeah. No. So look. Our perspective is everything as adults and as parents.
Mhm.
And so if we don't know that the suicide rate is trending down and it's by 10% in the last 10 years, if we don't know that, then and we have a friend's daughter or son, like I had a friend's daughter commit suicide a few years ago, and you go, oh, my goodness, what the heck is going on here? These kids these days, and da da da, and it's just not really true.
Mhm.
um, are kids a little more entitled than they were, or than we were when we were kids? Okay, yeah, but we also didn't have the stuff that they had. We didn't have the distractions that they have.
Mhm.
We didn't have to deal with dopamine rushes every time we got a like, right?
Mhm.
We
True.
didn't have what trained our brain, because our kids are being trained by social media.
Yes, indeed.
Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not saying that it's bad, right? I'm just saying it is. Sometimes things just are. We're in the world of Facebook and
True.
instant gratification, and we didn't have that. If we wanted gratification, we had to go get it, right? We had to go outside of the house and seek gratification from a friend, from a
Mhm.
boyfriend, a girlfriend. So they don't have to do that. They could, I see these TikTok videos of these girls that are 19, 20, 21 years old. And if you get your half naked ass on TikTok, you got 1 million likes.
Mhm.
And good, bad, or indifferent, you're a biological creature, so you're going to seek pleasure, right?
Yes.
And if you're learning that this and this
Mm.
gives you pleasure.
There's whole studies about how that like phenomenon triggers
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
dopamine. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. You get an instant. There's
they,
never look. The truth is, there's never been anything as we know, in the human race that has triggered a dopamine rush like it, this thing
yeah, they
called
they equate
social
it
media.
to cocaine use. It has the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah,
same
yeah.
effect. So
Yeah,
sad.
yeah, it's crazy. So when we say they're entitled, when we talk about our kids, I go, okay, but we're their parents,
Mhm.
so where's the blame to be? I try to teach my daughter. My daughter's 25 years old, and she's finishing a psychology degree, and she started out pursuing an X-ray tech degree. Okay, so
Mhm.
she was going to school as a radiologist. It was a 40-year degree. She really thought she wanted it. Then she started working with kids with autism. And she says, Dad, I think I want to change my major. And as a parent, you go, what are you talking about? You know that costs money, right? You know,
Mhm.
this is not free, right? You understand that you just wasted a year of your life doing something you said you wanted to do. But I had to restrain myself, and I had to go, look at what I taught my daughter.
Mhm.
She is looking for the intrinsic value that something that she's doing for a career will give her, right? She's intrinsically motivated to help kids with
Awesome.
autism.
Awesome. Beautiful.
It don't we all want that for our children?
Thank you.
Be happy. We started off the podcast with that,
Yeah.
right? Seeking our true self without the okay, money, look, money is nice. I remember rolling pennies up. Pennies up. You remember that? You remember that? For diapers and gas.
Yes,
Come
indeed.
on. Come on with me. We gonna go
Yes,
way back,
indeed. Yes,
Lana. We gonna go
indeed.
way back. It
I
might
gotta go
trigger
to the
something.
I gotta go to the grocery store. I gotta figure out how to make this happen. Let's see what's in the couch. Let's see what's in the ashtray.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am. You
yes.
digging in the car seats, in the little glove compartment.
Oh,
look at. I found $1.50.
thank you.
Oh man, and
Yes.
and to the point where you don't have to do that. I don't think anybody's gonna say no. I'd rather roll up pennies. You know how embarrassing I found it to roll up pennies and put my social security number on it, going to the supermarket to get some diapers and some
Mhm.
formula. That was so embarrassing to me. I had no money management
Mm.
skills. I had a job. I was in the Air Force. I was making decent money, but I had no money management skills. Nobody taught me how to manage my money.
Mhm.
Nobody taught me how to be a parent. Nobody taught me how to be a good husband. I didn't have that, you know?
Mhm.
And our young people need that. Our young people need to know that they don't have to be half naked on TikTok and give in to the dopamine rushes that they're going to get. My daughter doesn't even have social media. She deleted social media years ago. 25 years old. She says, you know what she said? It's interfering with my life.
Oh, love it.
I
Love
said, what do you mean interfering with your life? She said, yeah, look, I got goals, and this isn't
awesome.
this isn't adding value to my life, to my goals.
You did good, Dave. You did good,
She did. You know what? I guess she did a lot of the work, but yeah,
She- you did good. You did
we
good.
hope, we hope, there was no manual. That's what I'm trying to produce is a manual to raise kids. And I'm trying my hardest. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I'm trying because I didn't have that. Oh
Mhm.
boy, if I would have known that I could not have to yell, scream, and argue with my kids and just connect with them in a different way. If I'd have known that
Mhm.
then, I'd have saved a lot of time, energy, and effort, right?
That's
If I'd have
beautiful.
known
That's
this
beautiful.
isn't going to do any good when they're teenagers. This is, in the program, all I talk about is autonomy
Mhm.
and intrinsic motivation, creating the desire, like my daughter did, to not be on social media because she values something else. That was her decision. I instilled that intrinsic motivation, that circuit of having that intrinsic drive, right?
Mhm.
That motivation internally. But when we're looking for extrinsic motivation, right? Everything that's external, the likes that we get on TikTok because we showed our ass.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? And I tell people eventually you could get old. Eventually, look, the truth is no guy that's running after a 21-year-old that's shaking her ass on social media is thinking, oh, I'd like to marry her. I want her as the father of my kids. No,
Mhm. I mean, I asked the youngsters, is there a 401k with that? Are you paying into Social Security with that?
Yeah,
I mean,
boy.
when you get to 60, how is this TikTok going? What is that going to do for you? What is that about? You know,
It's
what's going?
so but it's so hard for them. It's so hard. I equate it to this. You remember when somebody would come to the door and say, "Hey, can Lana come out and play?" And your mom, "No, not now. She's about to have dinner."
Hmm.
And inside of you, you didn't care about dinner. You wanted to go play, right? You can care less about eating, which is one of our
Necessity.
necessities,
Hmm.
right? But you wanted to go play. How many times did you go home after the street lights came on?
Not with my mom. No.
She didn't play that.
No, no. My dad, and I didn't. My dad was in the Air Force. My dad was one of those ones. Okay, he would drop me off at the dance and say, "I'll be back to pick you up at 9 o'clock." 8:59. He's in the dance. Lana.
Oh boy. So at 8:58, you outside waiting for him.
No, 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 no,
Heard
no. I
that. I heard
agree
that.
to parents. But I understand what you're saying, though. You rather go. I mean, the kids, and it childhood is a very self-serving time in life. I
Yeah,
want what I want. I
yeah,
want
yeah,
what I want. So
yeah,
I understand. But let me because I want to ask because you mentioned it in the opening, and I'm hearing you talk about it now. It's and you have a program, a
yeah.
mentorship. Having a mentor is very key, and you're
Oof.
doing that now, right?
Yeah, yeah. I believe in it. I've seen it work. I know it works. So that's what I coach. I'm a life coach, but I'm more of a mentor, and I try for adults and children. Okay,
Okay.
so adults, look, we have the control. We're the ones who are molding them and instilling certain behaviors or um, trying to make sure that they do or don't do certain things in life, and the younger the better, right? you know and so parents, I really want to mentor and help parents realize how they can better connect with their kids, or the coaches. I had influential coaches in my life. I played football, and Coach Stevens, who I still remember, played a huge role in my life. And so I think if Coach Stevens could have connected with me a little more, a little better on my level, maybe I wouldn't have had to go through certain things, right?
Got you.
Maybe he could have been the one who saved my life. I mean, look, the two people that saved my life was my martial arts instructor and the guy that, I didn't talk about Ron Barnick. So Ron was in the Air Force, and he's the reason why I joined the Air Force.
Okay.
Oh man. So Ron was a guardian ad litem, and a guardian ad litem, I'm pretty sure but
For the
it's
audience,
someone
yeah.
it's somebody appointed by the court to act as a big brother, and they kind of go between you and the judge or your attorney, right? So the court system, and they kind of say, hey, look, Dave's doing well. Dave probably needs to move group homes or foster homes, blah blah blah. So they're kind of an advocate and an in between you and the judicial
Judicial.
system. Ooh. So Ron was a pilot in the Air Force, and he would bring me over to his house, and I'd see these things from all over the world. He had this big globe that would
Mm.
spin. I'd spin the globe, and I'd put my finger on something and stop it. Oh, where's this, Ron? And this is Europe. Look, Greece is in Europe, and Greece has the Acropolis and a lot of beach. Oh, wow. Spin it again. This is Asia. You lived in, where's this? Okay, Japan. Oh my goodness, look at that. So it was
Hmm.
amazing to me to see that there was something outside of California, something outside of LA, something outside of what I knew. And it was so inspiring to me. So it provoked me to join the Air Force.
Awesome.
And this is why I believe that people really have to figure out how to connect with young men and young women in their way, in the right way, right? Not your way as an adult, in the teens way, because there were great people in my life that cared about me, great adults that cared about me, but they didn't understand how to connect on the right level. And the two people that understood how to connect on the right level influenced my life tremendously. Because of Sensei Otto, I stopped gangbanging. I stopped doing bad stuff, right? Because of him, I ended up opening 3 martial arts schools, one in Hawaii, one in California, one in Colorado, and mentored and trained thousands of people, right? I still have parents and kids that trained with me messaging me on Facebook, Sensei Dave, how are you?
Awesome.
Oh, did you know that you played such a pivotal role in my life? No, I didn't.
Mm.
Did I really? I had no clue. We were just training and having fun. And I was instilling discipline and self-confidence and intrinsic drive into all the students, and you included. Yeah, well, that made a huge difference.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, isn't that
Wow.
amazing how your one mentor sparked something in you to spread out to thousands of people? That's just such a
Absolutely.
beautiful, and I don't think people sometimes realize how you as one little individual, your purpose, your passion that you have inside of you has the potential to impact so many people just like tentacles. And why sit on that?
Yeah.
You're not here to sit on that.
No. You look, if I impact one person in my lifetime, and that one person decides, I'm not going to kill myself today. I tried to kill myself. I was 12 years old and tried to kill. I slit my wrist. Still have scars from my wrist
Mm.
because my mom died. I was at this boys' camp, and my mom passed away. And again, I told you that feeling of emptiness, even though it was a bad situation. I love her as a mom, but she wasn't a good mom, and it wasn't a good environment. But that's all I had, right? And so when she passed away and I had nothing, I didn't want to live. I really didn't. So here I am, 12, 13 years old. I remember going back to the boys' camp, and on the way back from school to the boys' camp, and it was a couple of days after my mom died. I just couldn't take it. I just didn't have a desire to even occupy space. Everything was such a void in my life. And so I decided not to go back to the boys' camp. I went under a bridge, and it was raining. And as I sat under the bridge, I just cried. I get like this inconsolable, just cried, I couldn't stop, you couldn't breathe, and you're just going. And I said, I don't deserve to be here, and I don't want to be here. And I just kept thinking, if I just died, and I saw a beer bottle, and I busted the bottle open, and I went to cutting my wrist, and I can't remember the pain. It's so weird. I can't remember hurting. I just remembered hurting on the inside. And I just cut. And nothing happened. I just bled. And I said, I can't even kill myself? Seriously. So I just walked back to the boys' camp, I think 10, 20-minute walk, bleeding from my wrist, And I got there, and the staff, oh my God, and they're rushing me to the nurse and wrap my wrists up. And I just kept thinking, wow, what a failure. like, I suck at life, but I can't even kill myself. Wow.
Well, we're thankful that you could not.
So am I. I'm good with it.
We're thankful. You sometimes, and I think, this comes with growth, self-growth. Sometimes we realize down the road why certain pieces of our journey were not fitting as we were trying to force them to fit, is because there was something bigger down the road. And clearly for you, there was something bigger down the way that was the reason why it could not end for you at that particular moment. So
Yeah, I believe that I've been fortunate enough to had helped a lot of people in a lot of different situations, and that's what I wake up to do. The truth is, I'm retired, and I say this all the time. I'm retired, and I don't need to be doing anything. I have a really nice leather massage chair with a huge TV and Xbox and PlayStation, and I love playing video games. And
mhm.
I could just be doing this all day, hanging out with my friends, going to the beach, hanging out with my wife, playing video games. But instead, I get up and I work on programs and I counsel people. Counsel, I shouldn't use the word counsel. I'm finishing a degree in psychology right now. It's so funny.
Mhm.
My daughter and myself are both
At
finishing
the same
degrees
time. Hey,
right now. But
hey.
I think she's actually a little ahead. I got 3 classes left, and I think she only has 2. She's finishing one, and she has one more. Anyway, but yeah, I get up and I just want to give. I want to be able, I understand the position that I'm in. I understand the statistical anomaly that I am.
Hmm.
I know this because I've lived it, but I've seen it. I've tried to get kids to change their ways or to be able to change the trajectory of their life. I've tried it. I've lost sleep over it
Hmm.
as a mentor, as a big brother, for big brothers and big sisters. And so I understand that I'm able to help so many people, and that's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to know that people are a little bit better from listening to our podcast here, listening to you, and whatever I can do, if it's a little bit, if it's a lot of bit, that's all I care about.
I think that's awesome. I think one of the things that many of us forget is that as human beings in this world, we're all interconnected and we all are supposed to serve some sort of purpose to our fellow man. And I think that was one of that lessons that I always remember my dad instilling in me from his time in the service, is that the military really teaches you about how we are in this together. And I really can't, my survival, my existence, my being really depends on my fellow servicemen. So it's a philosophy that was ingrained in me from my father. But we are here to give to each other, and it's so beautiful that you are doing that. And especially uh, the kids, the next generation, really benefit from what you have to offer. Now, I have taken up a lot of your time, and more than I said that I was going to, and I apologize for that.
We're all good. I'm
I do.
enjoying it.
I want to do my random question, and then
All right.
I want you to tell people, because you have a book out called "Why Me: My Fight for
Yeah.
Life." You
Yeah.
have the mentorship program that's on the Unlimited Potential Network Academy, and you have other things. So I'm gonna do the random question, and then I want you to tell people all the ways they can get in touch with you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Fair enough.
So we're not going to come to Greece for mentorship. So I'm hoping that we can.
Everything's online, but why not?
Okay.
Actually, it's funny you say that, Lana. I keep in the back of my mind thinking how I can put together a yearly retreat, maybe twice a year, for people to come here, and I could do the whole thing,
Mhm.
and it just be this, have some motivational speakers, have some trips planned, this big event. It's a nice vacation, but you leave and you're like, wow, I'm
Mm.
I'm ready. I'm defying my destiny right now. I want people to leave here and they go, I had a great trip, but not just that, like, I'm just so energized.
Mm.
All this, and I'm ready to go. And then the next thing that they have is their best life in front of them. You
Awesome,
know,
awesome. I really think, and this is just, me thinking out loud. Your birth city, Compton, California. There's
uh,
a lot of problems with the school system and stuff like that. A lot of the young kids would really probably benefit from knowing that one of their own is over there, and seeing the good things that he's doing, the good work he's giving back. So, I mean, just a
I
little bug in your ear, maybe.
it's funny you say that because I have a friend of mine that she works with kids, and she just got my book into some of the foster homes and group homes that
Hmm.
she works with, and my the best case scenario for me is my book is required reading for everyone, every kid that walks through juvenile detention, every kid that goes to a group home or a foster home or boys camp. They just get, it's a short read, it's a good read, it's 106 pages, 109 pages, and they're just handed this, and this is just part of their in processing, right?
Awesome.
Boom. And I mean, this is my hope. So anyone that's listening, including yourself, get out there, figure a way that my book can just be required reading for any young man or young woman going through, because I think it's a life changer. I
Awesome. Good
really
deal.
do.
Good deal. Good deal. All right, let's do this random question here, and then
All
we'll
right.
see how we can connect with you. Oh boy, what is the worst purchase that you've ever made?
Worst purchase I've ever made.
You bought that muscle car when you had no rank, no stripes, and you used all of your paycheck, right, for $200.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that because I had two kids to feed. Otherwise,
Oh,
I would
okay.
have. It was either the kids or the Mustang. So I guess the kids will eat. What was
Worst.
the worst purchase I have ever made?
Take your time.
Wow. I want to say when I started making real money
Hmm.
from my martial arts school in Colorado and all the stuff that I was doing, I was making a lot of money.
Hmm.
I decided I wanted a Mercedes, and I wanted a brand new Mercedes.
Hmm.
And so I went and got a brand new Mercedes. And what I didn't do is pay for it outright. I paid for a lot of it and then I financed some of it.
Mm.
And 46-year-old Dave doesn't do credit, doesn't do finance, doesn't do, if I can't buy it, I can't afford it. And if I were a little voice in my ear on my shoulder back then, I would have told myself, if you can't afford it, you don't deserve it. You haven't earned it. And to caveat, I don't buy brand new cars. I don't buy anything brand new that's going to depreciate.
That's right. As soon as it drives off the
So,
lot, it depreciates in
yeah,
value. Yeah.
yeah, and so I think that Mercedes was probably the dumbest purchase because I'm paying finance rate plus it lost 3, 4, 5,000 as soon as I drove off the lot.
Soon as
And
you
when
drive
I
off the.
yeah, when I went to go sell it, it was I think it was upside down, as a matter of
Yes.
fact. I think
Wow.
even with I think I paid, like, I put 20 grand on it, and even with that, 6 years later or so, 5, 6 years later, it wasn't worth I didn't get anything out of it. So yeah, cars, and I'm not big on buying houses either. I don't it's not like, everybody thinks that you can invest in yourself, and by
Hmm.
buying a house, and this is what our great grandparents were doing, and it
Hmm.
worked then,
Hmm.
right? The housing market then worked, and they did that for their retirement.
Yes.
So they could buy a house, right? Save up, buy a house, not an exorbitant amount of finance rate, right? You're going to pay 500,000 on $1 million house and just well, probably 300,000 on $1 million house and financing it, right? For 30 years. So they don't use the bank's money against the bank. They use credit, and credit is not built for you. That the end.
Yes.
And so when you go to sell the house, it's not worth, say, 2 million, right? You buy it for 1 million, it end up costing you 1.3, but you sell it for 2 million. Now you have 700,000, right? Those days, those purchases, those houses are few and far between now, right? And so it ends up costing you a lot of money to maintain your house, to finance your house. And by the time you're all said and done, all you're going to do is will it to your kids. And depending on your kid's situation, you might be willing something that they don't want, because it still requires insurance. It still requires taxes to be paid on it.
And all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I know so many people who don't want the hassle of maintaining their parents' home. And these are all lessons I can see them parlaying into mentorship programs for young kids, because a lot of kids really just need to understand finance. Yeah. Okay, so Dave, please tell us how we get the book, how we connect with the mentoring, how do we reach you?
So the book, it's on Amazon. The name of it is Why Me? My Fight for Life by Dave Armstrong. You can visit www.whyme.world. Okay, and that's the book website, but that will also take you to Amazon. Remember, if you're in different countries, whatever country you get Amazon from, your orders from Amazon from, it's available.
Okay.
If you're looking for the teen mentoring program for at-risk youth, for anyone that's dealing with youth, any coaches, psychologists, social workers, go to teen mentoring. So www.teenmentoring.world, teenmentoring.world. And then if you're looking for life coaching, if you want to get your teen or your young person into some mentoring or something like that, go to www.upna.net. That's unlimitedpotentialnetwork.net. If you look for me, Dave Armstrong, on Facebook, or Dave in Greece, or Unlimited Potential, you can't help but to find me. I'm all over the place.
All over the place.
I don't stop. I don't sleep, apparently.
Awesome. Well, Dave, I appreciate you hanging out with me today, and I apologize for taking more than 30 minutes.
Don't apologize. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Somebody's going to watch this and they're going to be like, wow, Lana had this awesome guy on it. I love her show. We're going to subscribe to her show.
This awesome 22-year-old guy on her show, right?
I know I look it, but I'm not 22. I'm 25. I know, but it's cool though. I just, it's DNA.
You sound like my dad. He's like, Pumpkin, I don't know how it is I have a 50-something-year-old daughter when I'm only 25. I'm like, yeah, Dad, okay.
Pumpkin, huh? My daughter is Princess. Awesome. I don't even know her name. It's just Princess.
All righty, Dave. Well, thank you for making time for me today.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Thank you. Thank you to all of the listeners, your subscribers, and we'll talk soon, huh?
Awesome. That's all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.